Welcome back. Tonight we're visiting a place Hollywood has completely misunderstood. A Roman bathhouse. When movies show you Roman baths, what do you see? Gratuitous orgies. Right. Decadent emperors surrounded by excess. Beautiful people in togas lounging suggestively around steaming pools. Wine flowing freely. Everything dripping with sin and sexuality. The camera panning over bodies in ways that make you think this is ancient Rome's version of a nightclub. Spartacus. Rome. Gladiator. Every Roman epic ever made. Bathhouses equal debauchery. Bathhouses equal moral decay. Bathhouses equal everything your Sunday school teacher warned you about. That's the image burned into our cultural consciousness. Here's what they don't show you. Roman bathhouses were health clubs. They were community centers. They were social equalizers where senators bathed next to shopkeepers. They were daily rituals that kept millions of people clean, healthy, and connected across an empire that stretched from Britain to North Africa. They were architectural and engineering marvels that wouldn't be matched for over 1,000 years after Rome fell. For Romans, the bathhouse wasn't about sin. It was about civilization itself. About what separated Romans from the barbarians they conquered. About health, hygiene, social connection, and participating in the greatest culture the ancient world had ever seen. Going to the baths was as normal as you going to the gym or grabbing coffee. Actually, more normal. Because Romans went to the baths nearly every single day. Think about that. Daily bathing. In an era we think of as dirty and primitive. While medieval Europeans 1,000 years later went months without bathing, Romans had built over 1,000 public bath complexes in the city of Rome alone. With sophisticated heating systems, with fresh water supplied by massive aqueducts, with architectural designs that inspired Renaissance artists 1,500 years later, tonight you're not just visiting a bathhouse. You're understanding something modern Americans have almost completely lost. The art of making self-care communal instead of isolating. The practice of turning daily hygiene into social ritual. The wisdom of building public infrastructure that served everyone. Not just the wealthy. The idea that a civilization should be judged by how well it cares for the bodies of its citizens. This isn't a story about orgies. This is about what happens when an entire society decides that bathing isn't a luxury for the rich. That health and cleanliness should be accessible. That taking care of your body should be a daily practice. Not something you squeeze in when you have time. That physical wellness and social connection aren't separate things but deeply intertwined. If you're new here, this is boring history for sleep. We tell the stories that help you understand not just what happened in history, but what it actually felt like to be alive back then. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want more of this. And drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. I love knowing there are people from Seattle to Miami, from Portland to Atlanta, all learning together and drifting off to these stories. Now get comfortable. Adjust your pillow. Let your body sink into your mattress. Tonight, you're stepping into a Roman bathhouse. It's a warm afternoon in Rome. The year doesn't matter much. Could be 100 CE. Could be 200 CE. The bathing culture remained remarkably consistent for centuries. You've finished your work for the day. You're a merchant or a craftsman. Middle class. Not wealthy, but comfortable. And your body aches. Your muscles are tight from labor. You're covered in the dust and sweat of Roman streets. And you need to get clean. But more than that, you need to relax. You need to connect. You need to participate in this thing that makes you Roman. This daily ritual that's as much about belonging as it is about bathing. Let's begin with why you're here. Why you need this bathhouse. Why this isn't optional or indulgent, but absolutely necessary. You're 30 years old, which makes you solidly middle-aged by Roman standards. You work as a merchant. trading grain or olive oil or wine. The details don't matter much. What matters is that you work with your body as well as your mind. Lifting, carrying, walking miles through the city, making deals and checking shipments. By afternoon, you're exhausted. Your back hurts. Your shoulders are tight. Your feet are sore from walking on cobblestones. And you're dirty. Really dirty. Rome is a city of 1 million people packed into a relatively small area. The streets are dusty when it's dry, muddy when it rains. There's animal waste from the countless horses and donkeys and oxen that move goods through the city. There's human waste in the streets, because Roman sanitation, while advanced for the ancient world, still involves chamber pots being emptied out windows. There's smoke from cooking fires and workshops. There's the general grime that comes from living in any pre-industrial city. You're sweating through your tunic. The Roman afternoon is warm. Your hair feels grimy. Your skin feels grimy. Your fingernails have dirt embedded in them. By modern standards, you'd jump in the shower immediately. But you don't have a shower. You don't have running water in your apartment. Your home is a modest rental in an insula. One of those multi-story apartment buildings where most Romans lived. There's no private bath. No way to get truly clean at home. But that's fine. That's normal. Because you're going to the baths. Just like you do every day. Just like everyone does. The bathhouse isn't a luxury for you. It's infrastructure. It's as essential as roads or aqueducts or markets. Roman society runs on the assumption that people will bathe regularly. That they'll be clean. That they'll have access to hot water and social space and a place to relax and connect. This isn't something reserved for the wealthy. The entry fee is typically 1 quadrans. The smallest Roman coin. About 1/4 of an as. Which is the daily wage for an unskilled laborer. In other words, ridiculously cheap. Affordable for almost everyone. Sometimes the emperor declares free bathing days, and it doesn't cost anything at all. Because Romans believed, deeply and genuinely, that bathing was what separated civilization from barbarism. That cleanliness was next to godliness. Though they wouldn't have used those words. That a society was measured by how well it cared for the bodies of its people. This wasn't just practical hygiene. This was culture. This was identity. This was what it meant to be Roman. So you're going to the baths. Not because you're indulging yourself, because it's what you do. Every day or every other day. Depending on your schedule. Because your body needs it. Because society expects it. Because this is how you maintain your health. Your social connections. Your place in the Roman world. You head out of your apartment and into the streets. The bathhouse you're going to isn't far. There are over 1,000 public baths in Rome. From small neighborhood baths to massive imperial complexes that take up entire city blocks. You're heading to one of the larger ones. Not the grandest. Not the baths of Caracalla or Diocletian, which won't be built for another century or so. But a substantial public bath, big enough to accommodate hundreds of people. Beautiful enough to make you feel like you're participating in something important. You can see it from several streets away. The building is massive. Multiple stories. Built from brick faced with marble. Columns at the entrance. A curved facade that speaks to architectural sophistication. Smoke rising from behind the building where the furnaces burn constantly. Heating the water and the rooms. You can hear the sound of voices even from the street. The echo of people talking and laughing in spaces designed to amplify sound. The splash of water. The general hum of human activity. This is one of the beating hearts of Rome. A place where the city comes alive. Where people from all walks of life converge. Where business deals are made and gossip is shared, and philosophy is discussed and bodies are cared for. All under one roof. All in the course of a few hours on an ordinary afternoon. You join the flow of people heading inside. Men of all ages. Young boys brought by their fathers or teachers. Learning the rituals of Roman manhood. Teenagers. Young men in their physical prime. Middle-aged men like you. Elderly men who've been coming to this same bathhouse for decades. All naked or about to be naked. All here for the same purpose. To get clean. To feel human. To participate in civilization. The entrance fee is collected by an attendant. You hand over your coin. He barely glances at you. This is routine. Hundreds of people coming and going. You're just another face. Just another body. Just another Roman, fulfilling the daily obligation and privilege of bathing. You step through the entrance into the first room. The tepidarium. The changing room. And immediately you're in a different world. The sounds are different here. More intimate. Echoing off stone walls. The sound of fabric rustling as men undress. The slap of sandals on marble floors. Low conversations. The occasional laugh. All of it contained in a space that's neither fully private nor fully public. A threshold space. Between the street and the bath. Between clothed and naked. Between your daily identity and your physical self. The changing room is rectangular. Maybe 30 feet long. 20 feet wide. The walls are plastered and painted with simple geometric designs. Nothing too fancy in the changing area. The real artistry is saved for the bathing rooms themselves. There are niches cut into the walls. Small alcoves where you'll place your clothes. Wooden benches run along the walls for sitting. The floor is marble. Slightly damp from countless wet feet. The ceiling is vaulted, creating that echoing acoustic quality that characterizes Roman bath architecture. There are already a dozen men in here. Some undressing. Some having just finished bathing. Getting dressed to leave. One man is arguing with an attendant about a missing sandal. Theft is common enough that there are attendants specifically to watch clothes. Though paying them doesn't guarantee anything. Another man is chatting with someone he clearly knows. Making plans to meet in the hot room. The casual socializing is already happening. The bath experience begins here. In this liminal space. You find an empty niche and begin to undress. You untee your belt. Pull your tunic over your head. Remove your sandals. Fold everything and place it in the niche. You're naked now. Completely exposed. And this feels normal. Because it is normal. You've done this hundreds of times. You'll do it hundreds more. Romans aren't particularly shy about nudity. Not in the way that modern Americans often are. Bodies are just bodies. Everyone has one. Everyone's seen countless others. There's no shame in this. No inherent sexuality in simple nakedness. Though there is still vulnerability, you're not entirely comfortable. No one really is. Your body isn't perfect. You're carrying some extra weight around your middle. You have scars from childhood accidents. Your muscles are defined from work, but you're no athlete. You're just an ordinary middle-aged Roman man with an ordinary middle-aged Roman body. And that's fine. Everyone here is ordinary. Everyone is imperfect. Everyone is human. You keep a small amount of jewelry on. A simple ring. Romans sometimes kept valuables with them even in the baths because, again, theft. You also pick up a small towel and a bottle of olive oil. The oil is essential. Romans don't use soap as we know it. They clean themselves with olive oil and a metal scraper called a strigil. You bring your own oil or buy it from vendors in the bath complex. An attendant approach. A young man, maybe 20. A slave. You assume, though you don't ask. He offers to watch your clothes for a small tip. You agree. Handing him a coin. He nods and moves on to the next customer. This transaction is wordless. Routine. Neither of you needs to say much. You're ready now. Naked. Oiled bottle in hand. Small towel slung over your shoulder. You take a breath. The anticipation is real. You're about to step from this transitional space into the baths proper. Into the heat and the steam and the water. Into the social world. Into the ritual that defines Roman civilization. You walk toward the doorway that leads deeper into the complex. The air is already warmer here. You can feel humidity increasing. Hear the sounds of the baths more clearly now. Voices echoing. Water splashing. The crackling of furnaces far below your feet. You step through the doorway. And everything changes. The temperature jumps immediately. The light shifts. Dimmer here. More atmospheric. The sound envelops you. You're in the bath complex now. The real experience is about to begin. You're not just about to get clean. You're about to participate in something that's been happening in this exact way for generations. Something that millions of Romans do every single day. Something that archaeologists will still be excavating and marveling at 2,000 years from now. You're about to understand what it meant to be Roman. What it meant to live in a civilization that cared enough about its people to build something this magnificent. This functional. This beautiful. The warm room is ahead. The tepidarium, where your body will begin to adjust, where the heat will start to work on your muscles, where the bathing sequence will begin in earnest. But for now, in this moment, you're just stepping through, just moving from one world to another, just beginning the journey from dirty and tired to clean and renewed, just being one person among millions, one body among countless bodies. One Roman among Romans. The bathhouse awaits. The ritual is calling. The water is ready. You're home. The first room you enter after leaving the changing area is the tepidarium, the warm room. And warm is exactly what it is. Not hot. Not overwhelming. Just pleasantly, envelopingly warm, like stepping into a hug made of air. The temperature shift is immediate and wonderful. Outside was the heat of a Roman afternoon. Dusty and direct. The changing room was cooler. Transitional. But this is warm in a different way. Gentle. Encompassing. The kind of warmth that makes your muscles immediately start to relax. That makes you take a deeper breath without even thinking about it. That tells your body, on some primal level, that you're safe now. You're cared for. You're home. The tepidarium is a large rectangular room, maybe 40 feet long, 30 feet wide. High vaulted ceiling, at least 20 feet up, creating a sense of space and grandeur. The walls are plastered and painted with scenes from mythology. You can see Neptune with his trident. Nymphs at play in a river. The colors are rich. Warm earth tones mostly. Reds and ochres and soft yellows. The kind of colors that feel warm even when you're looking at them. The floor is remarkable. Marble. But not cold like you'd expect marble to be. It's warm under your feet. Actually warm. Not hot enough to be uncomfortable, but noticeably warm. This is the hypocaust system at work. One of Rome's great engineering achievements. Below this floor is an empty space, maybe 2 feet high, supported by small brick pillars. Hot air from the furnaces flows through this space, heating the floor from below. The same hot air then rises through hollow spaces in the walls, heating the entire room. It's radiant heat, even, consistent, remarkably efficient. You can hear a faint echo if you stomp your foot. That hollow sound that tells you there's space beneath. Some Romans think it's funny to stomp around, making the floor boom. But that's considered poor etiquette. You're supposed to be respectful of the space and the other bathers. So you walk normally, feeling the smooth, warm marble under your bare feet, enjoying the sensation. There's a shallow pool in the center of the room. Warm water, not hot, maybe 15 feet by 20 feet. A few men are standing in it, waist deep, talking quietly. The water is still, barely rippling. Steam rises gently from the surface, visible in the slanting light from high windows. The windows are small, set high in the walls, letting in natural light but maintaining privacy. The light catches the steam, creating soft patterns in the air. You don't get in the pool yet. The usual practice is to acclimate first, to let your body adjust to the warmth, to prepare for the heat to come. So you find a place on one of the marble benches that line the walls. Sit down. Let yourself be still. Let yourself feel what's happening to your body. The warmth is working on you already. You can feel your pores opening, your skin responding. Romans believe this is essential for health, that you must open your pores before the intense heat of the hot room, that your body needs to transition gradually. Modern science would partly agree with them. Sudden temperature changes can be shocking to the system. The gradual approach is gentler, safer, more pleasant. Other men are in here with you, maybe a dozen, some sitting like you, some standing in the pool, some moving through toward the next room, all of them naked, all of them ordinary. You recognize a few faces, men you've seen here before. Regulars. There's an old man, probably 70, sitting with his eyes closed, just breathing. His body is thin, weathered, a lifetime of living visible in every line and sag. But he looks peaceful, content, like this is exactly where he's supposed to be. There's a younger man, maybe 25, with the build of a laborer, thick shoulders, strong arms. He's talking to another young man, discussing something about work, construction project, delays, costs, the kind of mundane business conversation that happens everywhere. But happening here, naked, in a warm room built 2,000 years ago. The juxtaposition is somehow perfect. Ancient space, timeless concerns. Romans are just people, just humans trying to get by. You close your eyes for a moment. Just feel the warmth on your skin, the slight dampness in the air. You're breathing, slower and deeper than it was 5 minutes ago. Your heartbeat, steady and calm. The tension in your shoulders, beginning to release. This is working already. This is why you come here. Not just to get clean. To feel this release, this transition from the stress of the day to something gentler, something restorative. A man sits down next to you on the bench. Not too close. Respecting personal space. You glance over. He's older than you. Maybe 50. Distinguished looking. Better oil than yours. You can smell it. Scented with something. Cedar maybe. Wealthy. Probably. But here he is. Sitting on the same bench. In the same room. Doing the same thing. Rome is hierarchical in many ways. But the baths are somewhat democratizing. Everyone naked. Everyone here for the same purpose. Everyone equal. At least in theory. In practice, class distinctions remain. But they're muted here. Softened. Good day for the baths, he says. A common greeting. Neutral. Friendly without being forward. Always a good day for the baths. You reply. The standard response. He chuckles, nods, settles into his own experience. The conversation is over. Brief, human contact. Acknowledgement. That's all. That's enough. You sit for maybe 10 more minutes, letting the warmth work, feeling your body relax more deeply. The tepidarium is a transitional space. Not the main event, but essential. Rome understood that transitions matter, that you can't go from cold to hot without adjustment, that the body needs time, needs gentleness, needs this middle space. When you feel ready, you stand. Head toward the next room, the caldarium, the hot room, the heart of the bathing experience, where the real work happens, where the heat becomes intense, where your body will be pushed and opened and cleansed in ways that only heat can accomplish. The doorway to the hot room is open. No door, just an archway. And through that archway comes a wave of heat. Not gentle like the tepidarium. This is serious heat. You can feel it from several feet away. The air shimmering slightly. The temperature at least 20 degrees hotter than where you're standing. You step through, and it hits you like a wall. The heat, intense, almost shocking, even though you were prepared for it. The air is thick, humid, hard to breathe. Your skin reacts immediately, sweat forming almost instantly, your heart rate increasing, your body working to cool itself. This is what Romans call the caldarium, the hot room, and it's earning its name. This room is larger than the tepidarium, grander. This is the centerpiece of the bath complex. Vaulted ceiling even higher, maybe 30 feet. Gorgeous frescoes covering every surface, more elaborate than the warm room. Gods and goddesses, epic scenes from mythology, Hercules at his labors, Venus rising from the sea, all rendered in rich colors that somehow withstand the constant heat and humidity. The artistry is stunning. You've seen these frescoes hundreds of times, but they still catch your eye. The floor is even warmer here, almost hot under your feet. You have to keep moving slightly, shifting weight. Standing still would be uncomfortable. The hypocaust is working at full capacity here. The furnaces below are roaring. Slaves are down there right now, in tunnels you'll never see, feeding wood to fires that never go out, sweating in heat that makes this hot room feel cool by comparison, suffering so you can be comfortable. You don't think about that much. Romans don't, but it's true. This comfort is built on exploitation, on forced labor, on human beings treated as property. But you're not thinking about that right now. You're thinking about the heat, about the large hot pool dominating the center of the room, about the steam rising in thick clouds, about the 20 or so men already immersed in the water, red-faced, sweating profusely, enduring and enjoying the intensity. You walk to the edge of the pool. The water is hot, very hot, not quite scalding but close. Romans keep these pools at temperatures that would make most modern spa-goers uncomfortable. You test it with your toes. Hot enough that you hiss slightly, but manageable. You know from experience that once you're in, your body adjusts. The initial shock gives way to pleasure. Pain transforms into something else. Something good. You step in. One foot, then the other. Walking slowly down the steps into the pool. The water rising up your legs, your thighs, your hips, your torso. Each inch is a negotiation between your brain saying too hot and your body learning to accept it. By the time you're waist deep, you're breathing hard, sweating, your face is flushed, your heart is pounding, but you don't stop. You keep going until the water is up to your shoulders. Until you're fully immersed, except for your head. Until there's nowhere left to go. And then you stand there. You breathe. You let it happen. The first minute is uncomfortable. Your body is protesting. This is too much. Too hot. Too intense. But then, gradually, something shifts. Your muscles start to truly release. Not the surface relaxation of the warm room. Deep relaxation. The kind that only happens when heat penetrates deeply. When tension that's been locked in for days or weeks finally lets go. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw unclenches. Your lower back, which has been tight since morning, loosens. This is why you're here. This feeling, this profound release. Romans believe the heat draws out impurities, that it balances the humors of the body, that it cures illness and prevents disease. Modern science doesn't fully agree, but there's truth in it. Heat therapy does work. It increases circulation. It reduces inflammation. It promotes healing. Romans didn't know why it worked. They just knew it did. You find a spot along the edge of the pool. Lean back against the side. Let your arms float. Close your eyes. Just be. Just exist in the heat. In the sensation. In this moment, the sound in here is interesting. Voices echo. Conversations bouncing off stone surfaces, creating a kind of ambient hum. You can hear individual words sometimes. Fragments of discussions. But mostly it's just sound. The sound of men being together. Sharing this experience. This intensity. A bath attendant appears beside you. You open your eyes. He's young. Maybe 18. Naked like everyone else. Slave or free. You're not sure and can't tell just by looking. But he's working. Oh, probably enslaved. He holds a strigil in one hand. A metal tool. Curved. With a handle. Used for scraping. Oil and scraping, he asks. Voice flat. Professional? He does this hundreds of times a day. You nod. Yes. Please. He produces a small bottle of olive oil from somewhere. Pours a generous amount into his hands. Begins rubbing it into your shoulders. Your back. Your arms. The oil is warm. Fragrant. He works methodically. Not a massage exactly. More like coating. Preparing your skin for the scraping to come. This is intimate. A stranger touching your naked body. But it doesn't feel sexual. Doesn't feel awkward. This is service. This is how bathing works. Romans are comfortable with bodies in ways that modern people often aren't. Bodies are just flesh. Everyone has one. There's no shame in being touched. No assumption of ulterior motive. This is just practical. Though you're aware, distantly, that for him this isn't a choice. He does this because he's enslaved. Because he has no other option. Because his body belongs to someone else who has decided this is how he'll earn his keep. The Romans around you don't think about this. To them, slavery is natural. The way the world works, but it isn't natural. It's violent. It's wrong. Even as you benefit from it. You know this. Or at least, listening to this story. You know this. The attendant picks up the strigil, begins scraping, starting with your back. Firm pressure. The metal blade pulling across your oiled skin, dragging away the oil, and with it, dirt, dead skin, sweat, the grime of the day. It's somewhat rough. Not painful, but not exactly comfortable either. But effective. You can feel your skin emerging. Clean. Fresh. Pink from the pressure and the heat. He works systematically. Your back. Your shoulders. Your arms. Your chest. He's skilled. Knows exactly how much pressure, how to angle the blade. This is his craft. His forced craft. But he's good at it. When he's done, your skin feels different. Lighter. Smooth. You can feel air on it in a way you couldn't before. Other side, he says. You turn. He does your legs. Your feet. Thorough. Professional. When he's finished, he looks at you expectantly. You reach for the small pouch you left at the edge of the pool. Pull out a coin. A small tip. He takes it without expression. Nods. Moves on to the next customer. You're clean now. Really clean. The combination of heat, oil, and scraping has removed everything. You're as clean as it's possible to be with pre-modern technology. Cleaner than most medieval Europeans will be 1,000 years from now. Cleaner than many people in the developing world today. Rome has given you this. This luxury of cleanliness. This dignity of hygiene. But you're not done. The sequence continues. Next comes the shock. The contrast. The thing that makes Roman bathing truly distinctive. You climb out of the hot pool. The air feels cool by comparison, though it's still very warm. You dry off slightly with your small towel. Then head toward the next room. The frigidarium. The cold room, where water that isn't heated waits to shock your system. To complete the therapeutic cycle of hot and cold. Temperature, contrast therapy. Romans swear by it. Modern science has confirmed it has real benefits. Increased circulation, reduced inflammation, release of endorphins. The ancient intuition was correct. The cold room is smaller, less elaborate. This isn't where you linger. This is a quick shock, a jolt, a wake-up call for your body. The pool is maybe 10 feet by 15 feet, fed by the aqueduct, constantly replenished with fresh water, not freezing. Rome isn't that cold, but genuinely cold. Probably 60 degrees, maybe 55. Several men are in there already, gasping, laughing, shouting good-naturedly. By Jupiter? That's cold, someone yells. Others laugh. This is part of the experience. The shock, the shared intensity, the camaraderie of enduring something difficult together. You don't hesitate. Romans don't ease into the cold pool. You jump, or dive, all at once, committing fully. You choose to jump. The cold hits you everywhere at once. Your entire body screaming, skin contracting, every nerve firing. Your breath catches. Your heart pounds. You surface, gasping. Gods, you shout. Others laugh. Someone claps you on the shoulder. Solidarity. But it's amazing. After the intense heat, this cold is shock therapy. Your body is alive in a way it wasn't before. Every sensation heightened. Your skin tingling, blood rushing, endorphins flooding your system. You feel incredible, awake, energized, cleansed not just physically but somehow spiritually, renewed. You don't stay long. Nobody does. Maybe 2 minutes. Just enough for the contrast effect. Just enough to feel the full benefit. Then you climb out, shaking, laughing, exhilarated. The man next to you, maybe 40, merchant like you from the look of him, grins. Never gets easier. Does it? No. You agree, but always worth it. He nods, heading to the massage, thinking about it. I know a good one. Far corner. Ask for Felix. Expensive, but worth every as. You thank him. This casual exchange of information, this is how it works. Regulars helping each other. Building informal networks. Creating community through shared experience. You head toward the massage area. A section of the complex with marble benches. Cushioned slightly with folded cloth. Attendants everywhere offering their services. Some are clearly experienced. Older men with strong hands. Others are younger, learning the trade. You spot the one called Felix. Older man. Maybe 60. Muscular, despite his age. You approach. Massage, he asks. Please. Full body? He nods. Names his price? It's steep, but you're feeling generous. Feeling good. You agree. You lie face down on the marble bench. It's warm from the hypocaust. Comfortable despite being stone. Felix pours warm olive oil on your back. Begins working your muscles. His hands are strong. Skilled. He finds every knot, every tight spot, works them methodically, firmly but not painfully. This is therapeutic. Medical. Romans understand that muscle health matters. That tension in the body affects everything. They don't have massage therapy as a formal profession. But they have this. Bath attendants who know what they're doing, who've learned through practice, through generations of oral knowledge passed down. Felix works in silence mostly, occasionally asking harder or softer and adjusting based on your responses. It does your back, your legs, your arms, has you flip over. Does your chest, your shoulders, to your neck. When he's finished, probably 20 minutes later, you feel transformed, loose, liquid, every muscle relaxed, every joint moving freely. You pay him. He thanks you. Professional. Kind, but not overly familiar. You've just paid him well. He'll remember you. Next time you come. If you ask for Felix, he'll know you. Will perhaps give slightly better service. This is how reputations are built. How regulars become known. How the social fabric of the baths is woven. You're done with the bathing sequence now. Hot, cold, cleaned, massaged. Your body has been through the complete Roman treatment. You feel renewed. Better than you've felt all day. Possibly better than you've felt all week. This is why Romans bathe daily. Not just for cleanliness. For this feeling, this restoration, this reset. But the experience isn't over. Now comes the social part. The reason the baths are truly central to Roman life. You head toward the social areas, the gardens if weather permits, the walking paths, the swimming pool, the exercise yards, the places where Romans gather not just to bathe but to be together, to talk, to do business, to argue about philosophy, to gossip, to connect. Your body is cared for. Now it's time to feed your social and intellectual self. To be Roman in the fullest sense. To participate in civilization. The afternoon stretches ahead. The bath complex is yours to explore. And you belong here. Completely. Perfectly. This is your space as much as anyone's. This is your Rome. You step out into the open air and the difference is immediate. After the enclosed warmth of the bathing rooms, the outside feels fresh, not cold. The afternoon is still warm, but there's a breeze. Natural light after the dimmer interior. Sky above instead of vaulted ceilings. You take a deep breath. The air smells different out here. Less humid. You can smell plants, herbs growing in planters, roses somewhere. The green smell of grass in the exercise yard. This is the natatio, the outdoor swimming pool, and it's magnificent. Large, rectangular, maybe 60 feet long and 30 feet wide. The water is a clear blue-green, reflecting the sky. It's not heated like the caldarium, but it's not as cold as the frigidarium either. Just refreshing. Perfect for actual swimming. For exercise, for cooling off gradually after the intensity of the hot rooms. The pool is surrounded by a colonnade. Graceful columns supporting a covered walkway where people can walk or sit in shade. Beyond the colonnade, you can see gardens, carefully tended, geometric flower beds, trimmed hedges, small statues and alcoves, everything designed to be beautiful, to create a sense of peace and order. This is Roman aesthetic sensibility on full display. Nature-controlled, shaped, made elegant. There are maybe 20 people in and around the pool. Some swimming laps, some just standing in the water, talking, some sitting on the edge, feet dangling in. A few boys, maybe 10 or 12 years old, are playing some kind of game. Splashing, shouting, their fathers watching from the poolside, occasionally calling out instructions or warnings. This is where Roman boys learn to swim, where they learn to be comfortable in water, an essential skill in an empire connected by rivers and seas. You walk to the edge and sit. Let your feet dangle into the water. It feels good. Cool but not shocking. Soothing after the heat. You watch the activity, the movements, the interactions. This is Roman life in microcosm. All ages, different body types. Some men are athletic, muscular, clearly taking care of themselves. Others are softer, rounder. Some are elderly, moving carefully. Some are young and reckless, all naked, all accepted, though class is still visible even here. That man over there, the one with 3 attendants hovering around him. He's clearly wealthy, possibly senatorial class. His attendants hold his towel, his oil, his sandals. He doesn't have to do anything for himself. When he gets out of the pool, they'll dry him. When he wants to move, they'll clear a path. Wealth creates its own kind of space, even in a public bath. But there's also genuine mixing. That's the remarkable thing. The senator is swimming in the same pool as shopkeepers and craftsmen. He's not in a private bath, though he certainly could afford one. He's here, in public, where anyone can approach him, where conversations can happen that wouldn't happen in the formal spaces of public life. You notice a young man swimming nearby. Good form, strong, steady strokes. He finishes his lap and surfaces near where you're sitting. Shakes water from his hair. Catches your eye. Smiles. Good day for a swim. He says, friendly, open, perfect day. You agree. He pulls himself out of the pool in one smooth motion. Sits next to you, not too close. Respecting personal space, but clearly open to conversation. He's younger than you. Maybe 25. Well-built, but not laborer's muscles. Something about his posture, his way of speaking, suggests education. Higher status than yours. Probably, I'm Lucius. He offers. I work in the law courts. Advocate. Just started practicing a few years ago. Merchant. You tell him. Grain mostly. Some wine. You give your name. The introduction is easy. Natural. This is how it works at the baths. Strangers become acquaintances in minutes. The shared vulnerability of nakedness. The relaxed atmosphere. The implicit understanding that social rules are slightly different here. Busy season, Lucius asks. Always busy. You laugh. And you. How are the courts treating you? He makes a face. Politics everywhere. Can't argue a case on its merits anymore without considering which senator is connected to which party. But it's work. It's Rome. You talk for a while. Easy conversation. He asks about your trade. You ask about legal practice. He mentions he's thinking of joining a philosophy discussion that meets here regularly. Studies Stoicism. Finds it helpful for dealing with the frustrations of legal work. There's actually a group meeting today. He says, in the garden area, informal. Anyone can join. We read texts. Discuss applications. You should come. Always good to have practical perspectives. Philosophers can get too theoretical. You're honored. This is a man of higher social class inviting you to an intellectual gathering. Class barriers exist in Rome. Certainly, but they're more permeable than they'll be in medieval Europe 1,000 years later. Merit matters. Wealth can be earned. Education can be acquired. And the baths are one of the places where these crossings happen. Where a merchant can discuss philosophy with a lawyer, where social mobility, limited as it is, becomes possible. I'd like that, you say, and you mean it. This is part of why you come to the baths. Not just for physical cleanliness. For this, for the possibility of expanding your world, learning something, meeting someone who can open a door to knowledge or opportunity or simply interesting conversation. Lucius nods. Pleased. Good. It starts in about an hour. Garden colonnade. East side. Look for the old man with the walking stick. That's our teacher. Calls himself Diogenes. Though probably not his real name. He's poor as dirt, but wise as any wealthy philosopher. A boy runs past, chased by another boy. They're laughing, playing. One of the watching fathers calls out, "Careful, no running on wet stone." The boy slows, chastened, then immediately speeds up again as soon as his father looks away. Human nature, constant across millennia. Boys will be boys. Parents will try to control them. It rarely works. You slide into the pool. The water envelops you. Cool. Refreshing. You start swimming. Not racing. Just steady movement. Your body moves through water the way it's moved through water in this same pool hundreds of times before. The same strokes. The same rhythm. There's something meditative about swimming. The repetition, the breathing, the way your mind can wander while your body works. You think about Lucius's invitation, about the philosophy discussion to come, about how strange and wonderful it is that this is available to you. You're not wealthy, not particularly educated, but here, at the baths, you can access culture, can participate in intellectual life, can improve yourself. Rome has built this system, this infrastructure of civilization, and you're part of it. After a few laps, you get out, dry off slightly, head toward another area of the complex. The palestra, the exercise yard, where men work out, practice sports, train their bodies. Romans believe firmly that physical health and mental health are connected, that a sound body creates a sound mind. The Greeks taught them this. The Romans absorbed it, made it their own, built it into their culture. The palestra is a large open courtyard. The ground is covered with sand, soft for falling, for wrestling. Along the edges are various pieces of equipment, stone weights, wooden dumbbells, leather balls of different sizes, climbing ropes, everything needed for a full-body workout. There are maybe 30 men here, some wrestling in pairs, some throwing balls, some lifting weights, some just stretching, preparing their bodies for exercise. The age range is huge. Teenagers training hard, trying to build muscle. Middle-aged men maintaining fitness. Elderly men doing gentle stretching, keeping mobile. Everyone pursuing health in their own way. You watch two young men wrestling. They're good, really good, circling each other, fighting, grabbing, throwing. It's technical, skillful. A small crowd has gathered to watch, offering commentary, advice, encouragement. This is entertainment and education simultaneously. You can learn by watching, can see technique demonstrated, can hear experienced wrestlers explaining strategy. One of the wrestlers executes a beautiful throw. His opponent hits the sand hard, gasps. The crowd applauds. The winner helps his opponent up. They embrace briefly. Respect between competitors. This is sporting culture at its best. Competition without hatred. Striving to win, but respecting your opponent. Pushing yourself to excellence while maintaining dignity. A group is playing trigon, 3-person ball game. Fast-paced, requires quick reflex. Good hand-eye coordination. They're standing in a triangle formation, maybe 15 feet apart. throwing a small leather ball rapidly between them. The goal is to catch every throw. Never let the ball drop. It looks fun. Active. Social. One of the players sees you watching. Need a fourth? We could play 2-on-2. You hesitate. You're not particularly athletic. But why not? This is what the baths are for. Physical activity. Social connection. Trying things. Sure. You say. You join them. They explain the rules quickly. It's not complicated. Work with your partner. Keep the ball away from the other team. First team to drop 3 times loses. Simple. Physical. Engaging. You play. You're not great at it, but you're having fun. Diving for catches. Laughing when you miss. Your partner, a man about your age, is patient. Encouraging. Good try, he says, when you nearly catch a difficult throw. The opposing team is competitive but friendly. Making jokes. Celebrating good plays from either side. This is what exercise should be. Joyful. Social. Not punishing yourself at a gym while staring at a mirror. Comparing yourself to impossible standards. Not isolated on a treadmill with headphones. Avoiding human contact. This is movement as play. As connection. As being human together. After several rounds, you're sweaty again. Breathing hard. Your heart is pumping. You feel alive. Exhilarated. One of your opponents claps you on the shoulder. Good game. You've got quick reflex. Work on your aim and you'll be dangerous. You laugh. Exchange names. They're both tradesmen. One's a potter. One's a carpenter. You tell them what you do. Brief conversation. They mention they're here most afternoons. Join us anytime. We're always looking for players. Just like that. You've made potential friends. Or at least friendly acquaintances. People you'll recognize next time. Who'll greet you. Include you. This is how community forms. Through shared activity, through play, through showing up regularly and being open to connection. An old man approaches. Probably 75. Thin. Bent with age. But his eyes are sharp. He's watching the wrestlers. Occasionally calling out advice. Watch his left side, he favors it. One of the young wrestlers nods. Adjusts his strategy. Lands a throw. Thanks the old man. This is the transmission of knowledge. Elders are valued in Roman society. They have experience. Wisdom. Skills accumulated over decades. The young are expected to listen, to learn, to show respect. And they do. This intergenerational connection is built into the culture. The baths facilitate it. Create spaces where old and young mix naturally. You're getting tired now. The combination of heat, cold, swimming, and games has worked your body thoroughly. You need rest. Something to drink. Maybe something to eat. The bath complex has vendors. Small stands selling simple foods. Nuts, dates, cheese, wine watered down to safe drinking strength. You could get a snack, sit in the garden, rest before the philosophy discussion. You buy some dates and a cup of watered wine. Find a spot in the garden colonnade. Sit on a marble bench. The bench is warm from the afternoon sun but shaded by the colonnade roof. Perfect. You eat slowly. The dates are sweet. The wine is mild. You can hear water trickling from a fountain nearby. Birds singing. The distant sounds of the baths. Voices. Splashing. The hum of human activity. You close your eyes for a moment. Just rest. You feel extraordinary. Your body is clean. Exercised. Cared for. Your mind is alert but calm. Your social connections are expanding. You've met new people. Made plans to join an intellectual discussion. Been invited to play games. been welcomed, included, made to feel like you belong. This is civilization. This is what Rome offers. Not just conquest and laws and roads and aqueducts, but this daily rituals of care. Public infrastructure that serves everyone. Spaces where social mixing happens, where culture is accessible, where you don't have to be wealthy to experience beauty. Cleanliness, health, intellectual stimulation, and community. You open your eyes. Spot the old man with the walking stick, Diogenes, or whatever his real name is. He's settling onto a bench nearby. A few men are gathering around him. The philosophy group, Lucius, is there, waving you over. You stand, walk over, join the circle forming. There are maybe 6 of you. Various ages. The teacher nods to each person as they arrive. When it seems like everyone who's coming is there, he begins. Today, we continue our study of Epictetus. He says. His voice is rough but strong. We've been discussing what is and isn't within our control. Who can remind me of the basic principle? A young man speaks up. Some things are up to us. Some things are not. We must focus our energy on what we can control and accept what we cannot. Good. The teacher nods. And what is within our control? Our judgments, our opinions, our desires, our actions. The young man recites. And what is not within our control? Everything external, other people's actions, our reputation, our wealth, our body's health, death. Exactly. Now, the teacher leans forward on his walking stick. How do we apply this, you? He points at you. What is your occupation, merchant? You say. And what troubles you in your work? You think. Difficult customers. Unpredictable markets. Competition from other merchants. Worrying whether I'll make enough to support my family. Good. Honest. Now, which of these is within your control? You think carefully. How I treat customers is within my control. How hard I work. My honesty in business. My decisions about what to buy and sell. And what is outside your control? Whether customers are difficult, whether markets shift, what my competitors do, the final outcome of whether I succeed or fail. Excellent. So where should you focus your energy? On what I can control? My own actions, my own character, doing my work well and honestly, and the rest, accept it. Don't waste energy worrying about things I cannot change. The teacher smiles. You understand. This is wisdom. This is how we maintain peace in an unpredictable world. We control what we can, accept what we cannot. Find freedom in that acceptance. Others in the group share their own applications. A young man worried about his father's approval. Learning to focus on being a good son rather than controlling his father's reactions. An elderly man dealing with physical decline. Learning to accept what age brings while maintaining what health he can. Lucius talks about courtroom frustrations. Politics he cannot control. Learning to focus on arguing cases well rather than obsessing over outcomes. The discussion continues for perhaps an hour. It's not formal lecture. It's conversational. The teacher guides, but everyone participates. You contribute several times. Your practical merchant perspective is valued. Philosophy isn't just for the educated elite here. It's for everyone. It's practical. It's about living well. About being a good person in difficult circumstances. About finding peace and meaning in daily life. This is what Roman culture aspires to. Greek philosophical wisdom made accessible. Made practical. Applied to ordinary lives. You're a merchant, not a philosopher. But here, at the baths, you can access this wisdom, can improve your mind along with your body, can participate in intellectual culture. This is what civilization means. When the discussion ends, the teacher thanks everyone for coming. Mentions they'll meet again in a few days. Same place, same time. Everyone is welcome. You thank him. Thank Lucius for inviting you. Promise to return. You're about to head back to the changing room. To dress and leave. Return to normal life. But then you see him. Gaius, the merchant from the hot room earlier. He's waving you over. He's sitting with another man. They're talking business. From the looks of it, join us. Gaius calls. I want to introduce you to someone. You walk over. Sit down. Gaius introduces the other man. Marcus. Runs a shipping company. Moves goods around the Mediterranean. Gaius has been telling him about your grain business. I need reliable suppliers. Marcus says, getting straight to the point. Gaius says, you're honest. That matters to me more than price. I've dealt with too many merchants who cheat on quantity or quality. If you can supply good grain consistently, I can move it for you. Open up new markets. Ostia, Alexandria, even Carthage. This is opportunity. Real business opportunity. The kind that could significantly increase your income. Change your family's circumstances. And it's happening here. At the baths. Because you showed up. Because you talked to people. Because you're part of this community. You discuss terms. Quantities. Prices. Delivery schedules. It's preliminary. Nothing final. But it's promising. Very promising. You'll meet again. At the baths? Probably. Maybe at the forum. Continuing negotiations. But the foundation is laid. Built on Gaius's recommendation. On the trust that comes from being fellow regulars at the same bathhouse. From being part of the same community. This is how Roman business works. It's not just about the forum or the marketplace. It's social. It's relational. It's built on networks of trust formed in places like this. The baths are essential infrastructure, not just for hygiene, but for the entire social and economic system. After Marcus leaves, Gaius grins at you. Told you I'd look out for you. We merchants have to help each other. I appreciate it. Truly. Just do good work. Deliver what you promise. That reflects on me too. We're all connected. You nod. Understanding. This is the patron-client system operating informally. Gaius is helping you. But he's also investing in you. Your success benefits him. Your failure would harm his reputation. This is how Roman society binds people together. Through webs of mutual obligation. It's not entirely free or equal. But it works. It creates stability. Community. Connection. You sit there in the garden colonnade as the afternoon deepens into early evening. The light is golden now. That particular quality of late afternoon sun. Warm. Soft. Beautiful. The bath complex is still full of people, but the energy has shifted. Less intense. More relaxed. People finishing their routines, chatting with friends, lingering. And you realize something. You feel it deeply. Completely. You belong here. Not just to this bathhouse. To Rome itself. To this entire civilization. You're not a senator. Not wealthy. Not powerful. You're ordinary. A middle-class merchant. A person of no particular importance. But you're Roman. And that means something. That gives you access to these baths, this cleanliness, this health, this social life, this intellectual culture, this business network, this community. All of this is yours. Available to you. Built for you. You're part of something larger than yourself. Something that built aqueducts to bring clean water from miles away. That engineered heating systems that keep these rooms at perfect temperatures. That created public spaces where all citizens can gather. That values philosophy enough to make it accessible to merchants and laborers. That understands human beings need more than just survival. Need beauty. Need health. Need connection. Need meaning. This is Rome at its best. Odd. Yes. Built on slavery. Yes. Unequal. Yes. Imperfect in countless ways. But still reaching for something greater. Still trying to build civilization. Still believing that human life can be more than just brutish survival. That we can be clean and healthy and educated and connected. That we can aspire to excellence. That we can create beauty. That we can care for each other. And you're part of it. Right now, sitting here, clean, relaxed, connected, surrounded by people. Part of something that will be remembered 2,000 years from now. Part of something that matters. The evening is coming. Soon you'll dress, go home to your family, return to ordinary life. But you'll carry this with you. This feeling, this knowledge, this sense of belonging to something great. For now, in this moment, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Being exactly who you're supposed to be. A Roman. At the baths. Home. But let's pause here. Before we leave the baths. Before we return you to your modern bed and your modern comfort. Before the warm glow of that belonging feeling becomes the only thing you remember. We need to talk about what we've been avoiding. What Romans tried not to think about too much. What makes this beautiful thing complicated and difficult and, in some ways, deeply wrong. Because everything you just experienced, every moment of that civilized comfort, that communal care, that access to culture and cleanliness and connection, all of it rests on a foundation of exploitation, on forced labor, on human beings who have no choice, on slavery. Look around the bath complex again. Really look. Not with the grateful eyes of a Roman citizen enjoying his daily ritual, but with eyes that see the full picture, the complete truth. Those attendants who scraped your skin. Slaves, the ones who brought you oil and towels. Slaves, the ones who served food and drink. Slaves, the ones who cleaned the pools and swept the floors and managed your clothes in the changing room. Slaves, and below. In the hypocaust tunnels where you never go. Where you never have to think about there are more slaves. Feeding the furnaces. Maintaining the fires that never go out. Working in heat that makes the caldarium feel comfortable by comparison. The young man who scraped you with the strigil. Felix, who gave you that excellent massage. The attendant who watched your clothes. Every single one of them is someone's property. They don't work here because they chose this profession. They work here because they were born into slavery, or captured in war, or sold by desperate parents, or kidnapped by slave traders. They work here because they have no other option, because their bodies belong to someone else, because they are things, not people. In the eyes of Roman law, and you know this, every Roman knows this, but they've learned not to think about it. Learned to see slaves as part of the furniture, as tools that happen to be shaped like people, as natural as the marble floors or the bronze fixtures. This is what makes slavery so insidious. Not just the violence of it, but the way it becomes invisible, normal, unquestioned. You saw the young scraper's eyes earlier. For just a moment, you made contact, saw the person there, and then he looked away because he's been trained to. Because slaves who make eye contact with citizens too directly can be punished. Because his survival depends on being invisible, on being what Romans need him to be. A service, a function, not a human being with thoughts and feelings and desires and dreams. He's probably your age, Probably has family somewhere. Though slavery tears families apart, so maybe not. Probably has talents beyond scraping oil off naked Romans. Probably thinks about freedom. Probably resents you. Specifically you. For sitting there in comfort while he works. Or maybe he's so ground down by the system that he doesn't even think about it anymore. Maybe he's internalized his own oppression. Told himself, this is natural. This is right. This is just how the world works. And the furnace workers, below you right now, as you sit in this garden colonnade feeling grateful for Roman civilization, there are human beings in hell. Actual hell. Tunnels barely tall enough to stand in. Heat that makes them dizzy. Smoke that makes them cough. Constant risk of burns. Of cave-ins. Of simply collapsing from heat exhaustion. They work in shifts because no one can do it for a full day and survive. They're given just enough food and water to keep them functional. Not enough to thrive. Just enough to work. Some of them are branded, marked with their owner's symbol. Like cattle. Some wear iron collars that can't be removed. With tags that say, I am a slave. Return me to. And then their owner's name and address. In case they run, which they sometimes do. Because even torture and death can seem preferable to this existence. And when they're caught, they're made examples of. Crucified. Burned alive. Tortured in ways designed to terrorize other slaves into compliance. This is the foundation of your comfortable afternoon at the baths. This suffering, this exploitation, this absolute denial of human dignity and freedom. And the terrible thing? The thing that makes this so hard to think about clearly, is that the baths genuinely are wonderful. The social benefits are real. The health benefits are real. The democratic access is real. All of that is true. It's just also true that it's built on slavery. Both things are true. And Romans, comfortable Romans like you, citizens with rights and freedoms, don't want to think about the second truth. Want to enjoy the first truth without the moral complication of the second. There's no easy resolution to this. No way to make it comfortable. The baths are both an achievement of civilization and a monument to exploitation. Both beautiful and brutal. Both wise and wicked. Rome contains multitudes. Contain contradictions. You can appreciate what they built while condemning how they built it. You can learn from their wisdom while rejecting their violence. But you can't ignore it. Can't pretend it away. Can't tell the story of Roman baths without talking about the slaves who made them possible. Now let's talk about the water. Beautiful. Clear water in those pools. Where does it come from? The aqueducts. Massive engineering projects bringing fresh water from miles away. Incredible achievement. Some of those aqueducts are still standing 2,000 years later. Still inspiring awe. But look at the water in the caldarium. That hot pool where you soaked. Where 20 men are soaking right now. When was that water last changed? This morning. Probably. Supposedly changed daily. But maybe not. Maybe every other day. Depends on the management. Depends on whether they want to pay for the labor to drain and refill it. And even if it was changed this morning, think about how many bodies have been in it since then. Hundreds. Literally hundreds. All day. People coming and going. Getting in dirty. Sweating. Some of them urinating in the water because why get out when you can just go? Romans know this happens. Don't like to talk about it, but know it happens. There's no filtration. No chlorine. No chemicals killing bacteria. Just sitting water getting progressively dirtier throughout the day. You can't see the bacteria. Romans don't know bacteria exist. They just know that sometimes people get sick after bathing. Eye infections are common. Red. Painful. Swollen eyes from water contaminated with various microorganisms. Skin infections. Fungal infections. especially on feet. Athlete's foot didn't start with modern athletes. Romans had it. Called it something else, but it's the same thing. Thriving in the warm, damp environment of bathhouse floors. And worse diseases can spread here. Any contagious illness. If someone with tuberculosis comes to the baths, and tuberculosis is common in Rome, very common, they're breathing out bacteria in the warm, humid air. Everyone in the caldarium is breathing it in. If someone has a sexually transmitted infection and there's any sexual contact, and there sometimes is, though less than Hollywood suggests, it spreads. The cold plunge is probably safest. That water is constantly refreshed from the aqueduct, flowing through, cold enough that bacteria don't thrive as easily. But the hot pools, disease vectors, sharing water with dozens or hundreds of strangers. No modern understanding of hygiene, no safety protocols. Just tradition and habit and hope. Romans are aware this is risky. Medical writers warn about it. Suggest that sick people should avoid the baths. But there's no enforcement. No way to keep sick people out. And the economic pressure is real. Bath owners want customers. Don't want to turn people away. And sick people need bathing too. Need the heat. The relief. So they come. And disease spreads. The olive oil and strigil cleaning method is somewhat effective. Oil does lift dirt. Scraping does remove dead skin. But it's not like modern soap. Not killing bacteria. Not deep cleaning. Just removing visible dirt. You're cleaner after using it. Definitely cleaner than not bathing at all. But by modern standards, this is incomplete hygiene. This is doing the best with the technology available, which isn't quite good enough. And let's talk about class. About how the democratic ideal of the baths has real limits. Yes, senators and shopkeepers use the same bathhouse, but not really the same experience. That senator you saw earlier, he came with 3 personal slaves as attendants. They carried his supplies. They secured him the best spot by the pool. They ran interference so common people didn't bother him unless he wanted to be bothered. When he finished bathing, they had fresh clothes waiting, high-quality towels, expensive oils, everything he needed. You carried your own supplies, watched your own clothes, bought cheap oil or brought oil from home, hoped no one stole your sandals, made do with what you could afford. The experience is fundamentally different. You're both bathing. Yes, but the quality of that experience, the comfort, the luxury, the ease of it, that's stratified by wealth. And bathing times are often segregated by class. Morning hours might be reserved for senators and equestrians. Afternoon for ordinary citizens. Evening for the poor and slaves. If they're allowed to bathe at all. Some bath owners don't permit slaves except as attendants. The body of a slave isn't worthy of the same care as a citizen's body. In this thinking, which is monstrous but consistent with how Roman society views enslaved people, women's access is even more limited. Women do bathe at public baths. It's not forbidden, but they usually have different hours. Morning, often, or separate facilities entirely, and women's bathing is seen as less important. Their hours are shorter. Their facilities are often smaller, less elaborate. The assumption is that men need the baths for social and business life. Women need them just for hygiene. So they get less. And respectable women are supposed to be more modest. Proper matrons don't linger at the baths. Don't socialize extensively. Get in. Get clean. Get out. Go home. The freedoms that male citizens have. The ability to spend all afternoon at the baths, conducting business, studying philosophy, that's not equally available to women. The baths are gendered space, male space. Primarily, Women are accommodated but marginalized. There's also the question of sexuality and harassment. Hollywood has made everyone think Roman baths were constant orgies. That's exaggerated. Most bathing was genuinely about bathing. But sexual activity did happen, and not always consensually. Slaves were especially vulnerable. A slave has no legal right to refuse sexual contact with a citizen. If a wealthy man wanted to use a bath slave sexually, that was considered his right. Horrifying but legal. The slave's consent wasn't even a consideration. This happened. We know from historical records that it happened. Sexual exploitation of slaves was endemic in Roman society. The baths were one venue among many. Young boys were also at risk. Pederasty was more accepted in Greek culture than Roman. But Rome was heavily influenced by Greece. Some Roman men pursued younger males, sometimes consensually, within the bounds of Roman sexual morality, which is complicated and different from modern ethics. But sometimes, through coercion or force, young bath attendants were vulnerable. Boys brought by fathers were supposed to be protected. But that protection wasn't always effective. And even among free adults, harassment happened. Unwanted touching. Aggressive pursuit. Using the social dynamics of the baths to pressure someone into sexual contact. We don't have good statistics on this because Romans didn't track it. But it happened. The baths were public space without much oversight. The naked vulnerability that creates social bonding could also create exploitation opportunities. This isn't to say the baths were constantly dangerous. Most people bathed safely most of the time. But the potential for exploitation was there, particularly for those with less power. Slaves, women, young people, the poor. Those at the margins of Roman society who had fewer protections, less recourse, less ability to say no. Now, think about the environmental cost. Those furnaces burn all day, every day, consuming massive amounts of wood. Rome and its surrounding countryside were deforested partly because of the demand for fuel, for heating baths. Yes, but also homes and workshops and pottery kilns. The ecological impact was real. Soil erosion from deforestation, loss of wildlife habitat, climate effects that we're only now understanding through archaeological and environmental studies. And the water usage, millions of gallons daily for the baths of Rome alone. The aqueducts are engineering marvels. Yes, but they diverted water from natural flows, changed ecosystems, sometimes created water shortages in areas upstream. Rome's comfort came at a cost to surrounding regions, to nature, to sustainability. Romans didn't think in these terms, didn't have environmental ethics as we understand them. But the impact was real regardless. Their civilization was extractive, taking from nature, from conquered peoples, from enslaved populations, to sustain a lifestyle that wasn't sustainable. That couldn't last. That depended on constant expansion, constant exploitation, constant extraction. The fall of Rome had many causes. But part of it was this: the inability to maintain systems built on unsustainable practices. When expansion stopped, when new conquests stopped bringing in new slaves and new resources, the whole system started to crack. The baths fell into disrepair. The aqueducts broke down. The infrastructure crumbled. Because it was never built to be sustainable. It was built to be glorious, to be impressive, to demonstrate Roman superiority. But glory doesn't last. You're sitting here feeling grateful for Roman civilization. And you should be. In a way, they built incredible things, created remarkable culture, made beauty and community and wisdom accessible in ways that wouldn't happen again for over 1,000 years. That's real. That matters. But it's also true that this civilization was built on violence. on conquest and slavery and exploitation and extraction, on the suffering of millions, on the denial of human rights and dignity to most people in the empire, on environmental destruction, on systems that couldn't sustain themselves. Both truths exist. Both are important. You can acknowledge the achievement while condemning the methods, can learn from the wisdom while rejecting the violence, can appreciate the good parts while understanding and mourning the terrible parts. This is what honest history requires. Not dismissing Roman baths as just evil because slavery, not romanticizing them as perfect because culture and community, but holding both truths, understanding complexity, seeing what was valuable and what was unforgivable, and learning from both. The question isn't whether Roman baths were good or bad. That's too simple. The question is what we take forward, what we learn, what we build. We can build public bathhouses without slavery. We can create communal care without exploitation. We can make cleanliness and health accessible to everyone without denying anyone's humanity. We can combine ancient wisdom with modern ethics, ancient engineering with modern sustainability, ancient community with modern inclusion. That's the challenge. That's what we need to do better. Not recreate Rome with all its flaws, but take what was good, what was wise, what worked, and build something better, more just, more equal, more sustainable, more humane. Rome shows us it's possible to create public infrastructure for health and community, shows us the value of daily rituals, shows us that caring for bodies can be cultural practice, not just individual responsibility, shows us that beauty and function can combine, that architecture can serve people, that civilization can be measured by how well it cares for its members. But Rome also shows us the dangers, shows us what happens when some lives are valued and others aren't, when comfort depends on exploitation, when glory requires conquest, when beauty is built on brutality. We need both lessons. Need to learn from the successes and the failures. Need to appreciate what Rome achieved while understanding and rejecting what Rome got wrong. So yes, Roman baths were wonderful and terrible. Both. Simultaneously. Always both. And now you know. Now you see the full picture. The glory and the horror. The wisdom and the violence. The beauty and the brutality. All of it true. All of it Rome. The question is what you do with that knowledge. How you take it forward. What you build. How you create systems that provide care without requiring exploitation. Community without requiring conquest. Health without requiring hierarchy. That's your work. Our work. The work of building something better than Rome. Not because Rome was all bad, but because we can take what was good and do it justly, can create the beauty without the brutality, can provide the care without the coercion. Rome shows us what's possible and what's unacceptable. Both lessons matter. Both are gifts in their way. Hard gifts, complicated gifts, but gifts nonetheless. The afternoon is ending. The light is fading. Your time at the baths is nearly over. Soon you'll dress, leave, return to your life. Return to the complicated world of Rome with its glories and its horrors, its achievements and its atrocities. But you'll carry this with you. This knowledge, this understanding, this ability to see clearly, to appreciate and condemn, to learn from the past without romanticizing it, to take wisdom forward without taking violence forward. That's the real lesson of Rome. Not that they were perfect, but that they were human, capable of incredible achievement and terrible cruelty, often simultaneously, just like us, just like every civilization that's ever existed. The difference is what we choose to build, what we choose to value, what we choose to carry forward, and what we choose to leave behind. The baths are beautiful, and they're built on slavery. Both are true. Hold both truths. Learn from both truths. Build something better from both truths. That's the work. That's always the work. Understanding the past fully so we can build the future wisely. The shadows are visible now. In the steam. In the beautiful, terrible steam. You can't unsee them. You shouldn't unsee them. They're part of the story. Part of the truth. Part of what we need to learn. Rome wasn't paradise. But it wasn't hell either. It was human. Complicated. Contradictory. Brilliant and brutal. Wise and wicked. Beautiful and broken. Just like us. Just like every attempt humans have ever made to build something better. To create civilization. To care for each other while also, somehow, arming each other. The light continues to fade. The evening is coming. It's time to leave the baths. Time to return to modern times. Time to think about what lessons travel across 2,000 years of history. What wisdom survives. What justice demands. Let's go home. Let's come back to now. Let's think about what we can build. What we should build. What we must build. Better than Rome. Wiser than Rome. More just than Rome. But learning from Rome. Always learning from Rome. Come back now. Come back from Rome. From the afternoon light on marble. From the heat and the cold and the water. From the complicated beauty of a civilization 2,000 years gone. Come back to now. To your own time. To your own bed where you're lying safely. Comfortably. In the 21st century. Take a deep breath. You're here. You're not in ancient Rome. You're in modern America. You have hot showers. Indoor plumbing. Soap that actually kills bacteria. Clean water that's filtered and treated. You have advantages Romans never imagined. Technology that would seem like magic to them. Comfort and convenience beyond their wildest dreams. But you've also lost something. Something Romans understood instinctively. Something that was woven into their daily lives so thoroughly that they couldn't imagine living without it. And something that modern Americans barely remember existed. The art of daily ritual. The practice of caring for your body as a cultural activity. Not just an individual chore. The wisdom of making hygiene and health social instead of isolating. The understanding that physical care and community connection aren't separate things but deeply, fundamentally intertwined. Let's talk about what we've lost. And what we might recover, not by recreating Rome with all its flaws and violence, but by learning from what they got right, by taking their wisdom and building something better, something more just. Something that serves everyone. Something sustainable and inclusive and humane. Modern Americans talk about self-care constantly. It's a whole industry now. A cultural phenomenon. Self-care Sunday. Treat yourself. You deserve a break. Face masks and bath bombs and spa days. The language of self-care is everywhere. Self-care products are a multi-billion-dollar industry. Self-care influencers have millions of followers. Self-care has become central to how we think about wellness. But notice the language. Self-care, not community care. Not collective care. Self, individual, alone. You taking care of you. In private, in isolation, often as a consumer, buying products, buying services. Buying the appearance of caring for yourself, Romans would find this bizarre. For them, caring for your body was inherently social. You went to the baths with other people. You were cared for by attendants. Which, yes, was exploitative when those attendants were enslaved. But the principle of receiving care from others, of care being interpersonal, that was fundamental. You exercised with others. You discussed philosophy with others. You conducted business with others, all while caring for your body. Body care was never separate from social connection. Modern self-care is often intensely lonely. You're in your bathroom alone. You're at the gym alone with headphones on, actively avoiding human contact. You're at the spa in a private room with the door closed. Even when there are other people around, you're not really with them. You're isolated together. Parallel isolation. Everyone doing the same thing but separately, never truly connecting. And modern self-care is expensive, really expensive. Gym memberships can cost $50 to $100 a month. Spa treatments cost even more. A massage might be $80 to $100 for an hour. Products, equipment, classes, all of it adds up. Self-care has become something for people with disposable income. For people with time and money, for people who can afford to prioritize their bodies, Romans, for all their flaws, made bathing accessible. Entry to public baths cost almost nothing. Less than a day's wages for an unskilled laborer. Sometimes free. The infrastructure was public, supported by taxes and imperial patronage. Everyone had access. Rich and poor, citizen and non-citizen, with some restrictions. But the principle was that everyone deserved to be clean. Everyone deserved access to health. This was civilization. This was what separated Rome from barbarism. We've lost that. We've made body care a luxury, a privilege, something you have to be able to afford. And if you can't afford it, well, that's your problem. You're on your own. That's the American way. Individual responsibility. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No public infrastructure for health and wellness beyond the bare minimum. And that bare minimum is crumbling. Underfunded. Neglected. Modern Americans also have a complicated relationship with bodies. With our own bodies. With other people's bodies. With embodiment itself. We live in our heads. In screens. In virtual spaces. Our bodies are things we inhabit. Not things we are. We're disconnected. Disembodied. Living in abstraction. The statistics are stark. The average American spends 6 to 8 hours a day sitting. Sitting at work. Sitting in cars. Sitting at home. Even people who go to the gym, who exercise regularly, still sit most of the day. We're sedentary in ways humans were never meant to be. We're not moving. Not using our bodies. Not inhabiting physical space in physical ways. And we're ashamed of our bodies. The cultural pressure to look a certain way is overwhelming. Bodies must be thin or muscular or firm or whatever the current standard is. Fitness is about aesthetics, not health. About looking good, not feeling good. About meeting external standards, not internal needs. This shame keeps people from accessing physical culture. Too embarrassed to go to the gym. Too self-conscious to swim. Too afraid of judgment to be seen in workout clothes or swimsuits or states of undress. Romans were pragmatic about bodies. All bodies were different. Old, young, fat, thin, scarred, disabled. Everyone bathed together. Everyone saw each other. Bodies were just bodies. Tools for living. Not objects to be perfected. Not sources of shame. Just human. Just normal. Just the physical form that consciousness inhabits. We need to recover some of that pragmatism. Some of that acceptance. Bodies are worthy of care, regardless of how they look. Health is not the same as beauty. Fitness is not the same as thinness. Movement is valuable even when it doesn't produce Instagram-worthy results. Care is deserved. By everyone. For every body. No exceptions. So, what can we do? How do we take Roman wisdom and apply it to modern life without recreating Roman exploitation? How do we build better systems, more just systems, more sustainable and inclusive systems? The principles matter more than the specific practices. The principles are these. Care for your body daily. Make it ritual, not sporadic. Use temperature contrast. Hot and cold. Make it social when possible. Create structure, not randomness. Make it accessible, not exclusive. Find joy in it. Find connection in it. Find meaning in it. Let's talk about practical applications. Things you can actually do. Starting tomorrow. Starting this week. Small practices that can become rituals. That can become part of your life. That can change how you relate to your body and to others. Start with home bathing. Simple. Accessible. Free. Instead of quick showers, take baths. Real baths. Hot water. Maybe add Epsom salts for muscle relaxation. But the key is time and attention. 20 minutes minimum. No phone. No distractions. Just you and water and heat. This is ritual. This is setting aside time specifically for body care. Making it important. Making it daily or several times weekly. After the hot bath, end with cold water. Turn the shower to cold. Or if you're brave, keep a bucket of cold water and pour it over yourself. The temperature contrast is shocking, invigorating. Your body responds. Blood flow increases. Inflammation reduces. You feel alive, alert, renewed. This is ancient wisdom. Temperature therapy. It works. Science confirms it works. Try it. If you have access to a sauna, use it. Many gyms have saunas. Some communities have Korean spas or bathhouses. These are closer to the Roman model. Multiple temperature rooms. Social spaces. You can spend hours there. Make an afternoon of it. The cost is usually reasonable. $20 to $30 for a whole day in many Korean spas. Less if you're a gym member with sauna access. Make it social. Go with friends. With family, not alone. Or not always alone. The experience changes when you're with others. You're vulnerable together. You're caring for your bodies together. You talk. You connect. The social bonds form in ways they don't when you're just meeting for coffee or dinner. There's something about shared physical experience. Shared vulnerability. That creates intimacy. Trust. Connection. Try contrast showers at home. This is the simplest, most accessible option. Hot water for 3 to 5 minutes. Then cold. As cold as you can tolerate. For 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Alternate 3 or 4 times. End on cold. Do this daily, morning or evening, whichever works for you. It's free. It's quick. It's effective. You'll feel the benefits immediately. More alert. Better circulation. Reduced muscle soreness. Better mood. This is basic biohacking using ancient Roman wisdom. Consider massage trade with a partner or friend. You don't need to be a professional massage therapist. Simple massage. Taking turns. Touch is healing. Human touch is essential for well-being. We know this scientifically. Studies show that people who receive regular touch are healthier, happier, less stressed. Romans got this. They made massage part of the bathing ritual. You can create your own version. Weekly massage trade. Make it ritual. Set aside time. Create a comfortably space. Use oil. Music if you want. Make it special. Make it valued. Join a group fitness class. Any kind. Yoga. Spin. Swimming. CrossFit. Dance. Whatever appeals to you. The specific activity matters less than the group aspect. You're moving with other people. You're suffering together. In the good way, that exercise makes you suffer. You're encouraging each other. Bonding through shared experience. And crucially, you're seeing the same people repeatedly. Regulars. You learn names. You have brief conversations. These weak ties matter. Studies show they protect mental health. You don't need deep friendships. Just regular friendly faces. Just belonging. If you swim, consider a master's swim group. These exist in most cities. All ages. All abilities. People swimming together. Lanes, organized by speed. Everyone welcome. You show up, you swim your workout. You chat briefly before or after. That's enough. That's community. Simple. Accessible. Effective. The key to all of this is regularity. Romans went to the baths daily or every other day. You don't need to be that extreme, but you do need consistency. Pick something. Anything. Then do it regularly. Same days. Same times. Make it non-negotiable. Make it ritual. Rituals are powerful. They structure time, create meaning, build identity. You become someone who does this thing. Someone who prioritizes body care. Someone who shows up. And rituals are self-reinforcing. Once established, they're easier to maintain than to break. Your body expects it. Your schedule accommodates it. Your social connections depend on it. You become accountable, not just to yourself, but to the practice. To the community that shares the practice, but don't do it alone. That's the crucial piece. That's what separates modern self-care from Roman bathing culture. Romans were always with others, always social, always connected. We've made care isolating. We need to remake it communal. Find your people, your bathing community, your exercise community, your wellness community, however you frame it. The people who share this practice with you, who show up when you show up, who create the container that holds the ritual, who make it meaningful through shared participation. This might be a gym class where you see the same people each week. Might be a Korean spa where you go with friends monthly. Might be a swimming pool where regulars greet each other. Might be your living room where you host friends for contrast shower parties. Which sounds weird, but could be fun. Might be a partner you massage weekly. Might be an online community that shares experiences and supports each other. The form matters less than the function. You need witnesses. You need accountability. You need connection. You need to not be alone in this. Because care in isolation becomes self-indulgent. Care in community becomes culture, becomes ritual, becomes meaningful, becomes sustainable. Think about why Roman bathing lasted so long. Centuries. Across an empire. In diverse cultures and climates. It lasted because it was social. Because people needed the social connection as much as the physical cleansing. Because belonging was built into the practice. You went to the baths not just to get clean, but to be Roman. To participate in civilization. To be part of something larger than yourself. We need that. Modern Americans are lonely. Desperately lonely. The loneliness epidemic is real. It's killing people. Literally shortening lifespans. Increasing disease risk. Making us miserable. We're isolated in ways humans were never meant to be. And no amount of social media connection replaces physical presence. Face-to-face interaction. Bodies and space together. Shared vulnerability. Shared ritual. Shared meaning. The baths can't solve all of this, but they point toward solutions. Toward the kinds of practices and spaces and communities we need to build. Where physical care and social connection intertwine. Where health is communal. Where rituals create meaning. Where showing up is enough. Where everyone belongs. You don't need to build a Roman bathhouse. Though if someone did, with modern ethics and sustainability, that would be amazing. You just need to care for your body regularly. With intention, with structure, with others when possible. In ways that feel good. that create meaning, that connect you to yourself and to your community. Start small. One practice, one ritual. This week, tomorrow, now. When you get up from listening to this, take a contrast shower. Hot and cold. Feel what your body can feel. What temperature can do. What simple practices can create. Just try it. See what happens. Then build from there. Add practices. Add community. Add structure. Add meaning. Create your own bathing culture. Your own wellness ritual. Your own version of what Rome created. But better. More just. More inclusive. More sustainable. More aligned with your values. With modern ethics. With what we've learned in the 2,000 years since Rome fell. Rome shows us what's possible. The infrastructure. The accessibility. The culture of daily care. The integration of physical and social and intellectual wellness. The understanding that civilization means caring for bodies, all bodies, creating systems that serve everyone. But Rome also shows us what to avoid. The exploitation, the inequality, the environmental destruction, the violence required to maintain comfort. We can learn from both lessons. Can take wisdom without taking wickedness. Can build beauty without building brutality. That's your work. Our work. The work of creating better systems, better rituals, better communities, taking care of ourselves and each other, building infrastructure for wellness that's accessible and just, making body care cultural practice again, making health communal, making belonging possible through shared embodied practices. You can do this. We can do this. Starting now, starting small, starting with intention and consistency and connection. One bath, one shower, one swim, one class, one friend, one ritual, one step toward something better. The Romans are long gone. Their baths are ruins. Their empire is dust. But their wisdom survives, transformed, adapted, ready to be used, ready to be built upon, ready to inspire new practices, new communities, new ways of caring for bodies and souls and each other. So rest now. Let your own body settle. Let the story fade into sleep. Let the images of marble and water and steam become dreams. Peaceful dreams, hopeful dreams, dreams of connection and care and community. Your body is worthy of care, just as it is, right now. No changes needed, no perfection required, just care. Regular, gentle, intentional care, daily ritual, simple practices, hot and cold, movement and rest, connection and solitude, balance, health, wholeness. Tomorrow you'll wake. You'll start again. You'll have opportunity to begin. To create ritual. To care for yourself. To connect with others. To build something meaningful. Something sustainable. Something that serves you and serves your community. Something that honors ancient wisdom while creating modern justice. But tonight, right now, this moment, just rest. Just breathe. Just be. Your body relaxed into your bed. Your mind drifting toward sleep. Your heart full of possibility. Your spirit connected across time to all the humans who've ever gathered around water. Who've ever sought cleansing. Who've ever found connection through caring for their bodies together. You're part of that story. That long human story. Of bodies and water and ritual and connection. Of caring for ourselves, of caring for each other, of building civilization one bath, one shower, one swim, one ritual at a time. The water is always waiting. The ritual is always ready. The community is always possible. All you have to do is show up. Regularly. Intentionally. With others when possible. Building meaning. Building connection. Building health. Building something that lasts. Rest now. Dream of water. Of warmth. Of belonging. Of bodies cared for. Of communities connected. Of ancient wisdom made new. Of justice made real. Of care made universal. Of everyone having access. Everyone belonging. Everyone mattering. Sleep deeply. Wake renewed. Begin again. Build something beautiful. Something true. Something that would make the Romans proud while avoiding their mistakes. Something better than Rome. Something worthy of you. Of us. Of the future we're creating together. One bath at a time. One ritual at a time. One connection at a time. One person caring for their body and inviting others to join them. That's how it starts. That's how it spreads. That's how culture changes. You're part of that change. That possibility, that future. Rest in that knowledge. Rest in that hope. Rest in that peace. The ritual is yours to create. The community is yours to build. The wisdom is yours to apply. The future is yours to shape. Rest now. Begin tomorrow. Create something beautiful. Something just. Something connected. Something whole. Good night. Sleep peacefully. Wake renewed. The baths await. Not Roman baths. Your baths. Our baths. Better baths. More just baths. Baths that serve everyone. That exploit no one. That create community. That honor bodies. That build civilization. Starting with you. Starting now. Starting tomorrow. Starting with simple practices that become rituals, that become culture, that becomes who we are. Sleep well. Dream beautifully. Wake ready. The water is waiting. Always waiting. Ready to cleanse. Ready to heal. Ready to connect. Ready to renew. Rest.